actually work
Sure.
specifically
So
for when you're in recovery?
yeah. So all addiction comes from something that is rooted in the past.
Interesting.
So it can be a memory, a trauma, a resentment, emotions that originated at some point in the past that you're still carrying on some level mentally and perhaps physically in the body as well. Emotional energy. So because we know stress comes from behaviors that originated in the past. You may be anxious about the future, but that anxiousness about the future is something that you've developed as a habit which came from your past. So yoga and meditation is all about releasing the past. It's all about working with the traumas, working with the emotional residue in the body, working with the memory and mental affliction of addiction. Yoga will bring you to a place ultimately of presence. And by presence, I mean you have finally been able to sit still and be in the present moment. When you're fully in the present moment, you are, at least for that moment, you're released from the imprisonment of addiction from the past, of all that stress, all that unfinished business, all that emotion, all the things that make you feel like you're overwhelmed in your life. Yoga and meditation will bring you to a place where you can have peace and ease. The same thing you were looking for through repeating self-harming addictive behavior, the same outcome is available for you through yoga and meditation. Do you understand the power of that?
Yes, and it sounds, as you're saying this, it sounds so nurturing to the self and so soothing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of possibly like inner child work, where you're nurturing yourself, your person, and your. It's so much more and deeper than that, but it's kind of flashing me when you do some of that self-love work and how powerful that can be, and giving yourself permission to be healthy and okay. And again, what you do is beyond that. I know you're going deeper and you're working with people who are suffering through addiction and ailments, but it reminded me of that. And that is healing and a very beautiful, just something so beautiful and life-changing, which is what you do for people. And it just, that really it just gets me very emotional. So you're giving people tools. You're giving people tools to cope.
Yes.
Through what they're going through.
Yes. Tools to cope, tools to unravel the confusion.
Tools they may never have had, you think? Or forgotten about? Never knew?
Well, maybe they never had them, or maybe they never put them into play. Sure. And to see what the outcome would be of actually applying these tools to their life. Whenever anybody teaches anybody, there's really two things that are needed. One is good teachings. You need good teachings, but you also need inspiration. Otherwise, good teachings just sort of sit out there, and you've put a good idea in front of somebody, but you haven't inspired them to bring it into their life. So the inspiration piece of this is challenging, because people who struggle with addiction are so, they really don't believe in themselves. They've got, across the board, they've got a pretty poor track record of completing things and changing. They quite literally have been stuck. So here you are presenting new ideas, and they're like, yes, these are good ideas. Yes, I see these are good ideas, but you don't know me. I'm not really able to implement ideas in my life. I'm not able to complete things in my life. That's what I've shown myself. And so
it's a self-esteem issue as well, self-esteem and
yes,
lack of self, maybe of self
Exactly.
present. How did you get on this path, Tommy, of
Yeah,
teaching?
so I come from a history
And yoga.
of drug addiction.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Oh, and yoga. What brought you to yoga, and how did you get on this path of serving others?
Sure. I come to it, very much the honest way.
Yes.
Which is through pain and suffering of my own. And I went very far down a path of addiction myself in my life, and managed to find the teachers and the teachings and the love and the connection and the healing that I needed to climb out of that hole. And that was 26 years ago, and
Good
so now 26 years later.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I say the world is a safer place with me as a sober person. But I would suggest that the fact that I've been through so many forms of addiction,
Mm-hmm.
from drug addiction and alcoholism to codependency and all the challenges with relationships, money-based addictions such as gambling and being in a constant state of debt for long periods of time, all of those things.
That's interesting. We forget about those ones, right? Eating addictions,
Oh, yeah.
Both,
Yes.
too much, not enough.
Food.
Exercise addiction, financial money addiction. It can the spectrum's huge. We're not just talking about substance dependency on
Yes.
drugs,
Yeah.
but right. It's a wide, yeah.
We talk about the big six, which is drugs, alcohol, food, people, money, and technology,
Right.
as being the main big six addictions, and we go beyond that. But really, addiction is just anything that causes you to look away from the present moment. In the end, we're all addicted to looking away.
You brought up a good point, technology, just now. And I'd like to hear your take. I feel like we're in the age of technology, computers, right? Everyone's addicted to their phone, this and that.
Yep.
So it's, again, marketing, it kind of pitches us that it's a way to connect with people all the time, constantly. And yet, what is your take on that? Do you feel it does that, or do you feel it does something different?
Technology is not inherently good or bad. Like money is not inherently good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like food is not inherently good or bad. It's just
Right.
how we use it, how we put it to use in our life. And I think, what we see nowadays, especially in our younger, two generations beneath me would be the children of today. So today's kids
Yes. Okay.
are growing up in a world where, they're looking at a screen about 10 to 13 hours a day. That's a fact.
Right. Yeah.
If you sleep 8 hours a night, you're only awake 16 hours. So out of the 16 hours that you're awake any given day, 10 of those hours approximately are being spent by most kids looking at a screen of some kind or another in the Western world, in the United States in particular.
Right.
So what does that do? Well, there's a reliance upon a kind of interaction with an electronic device which pulls you away from the outside world and other people. The way that one is connecting is now virtual, electronic. And if you don't counterbalance that, in my opinion, with real life, looking into someone's eyes, connecting
Right.
with a human being,
Yes.
and I'm talking about all forms of relationship, with your family, with friends, with colleagues, romantically. If you're not looking at somebody in the eye, if you're not connecting with someone, I guess the clearest thing I can tell you about is that when I grew up, if you wanted to have a date with somebody, you would know you were interested in somebody by the chemistry between you.
Sure. Yeah.
And the way you would tell, because there were little cues and there were glances and there was an energy that developed. Oh, there's this nice energy between us, and there was a chemical reality to that internally in each human being, like endorphins were going off or whatever it was.
Right. Exactly.
And you knew, but
you could
nowadays
feel it.
that's not possible these days. Mm-hmm. It's possible, but it's not happening. So that's a strange, interesting thing, shift in sociology for us.
I
but
agree.
Also the way our brains change when we take in information or have our faces looking at a screen all day long. It changes the way our brains are operating, and we don't really know where that's going, but I'm going to venture a bet that it's not going to good places.
What is a day in the life of Tommy? What does a day in the life of Tommy look like?
Sure. I wake up sometime around 5 o'clock. I do what I call my sadhana practice, which is a daily spiritual practice. It includes yoga, meditation, breath work, and chanting.
Is that yoga practice based? A type of yoga? Okay.
Yes, it leans on yoga. It's not any particular kind of yoga. It's just yoga.
Got it.
And it's a path of essentially starting out the day on the right foot and connecting with myself, my innermost self, and being able to move beyond the influence of my thinking into what we would call a greater sense of consciousness. Mm-hmm. Once that's established, then maybe there's some journaling. Maybe there's a more extensive yoga practice, physically speaking. Maybe there's breakfast. And then, from there, it's reading, writing, connecting, and doing all the work of Recovery 2.0, teaching, doing videos, writing blogs, communicating about addiction and how to recover from it, all those things. Being with my wife.
Very
a lot.
Nice. Important.
Traveling a lot. Yep. That's kind of me.
Recovery 2.0, is this something anybody can do? They can get onto the website, and anyone who has access to www.recovery 2.0, just make sure I got that right, and for people who want to take that down too right now, that is something...
It's just It's r20.com. The letter R for recovery, and then the number 2 and the number 0.com.
Oh,
R20.
Okay. Thank you. Well, let me say
You're
that
welcome.
again then. Just it's www.r20
Yep.
.com. And that's something anybody can hop on the website and can join in.
Oh yeah, we have a membership which is paid. We have all kinds of free content all the time coming out, from YouTube to podcasts to everything that you could imagine. We have workshops and retreats and immersions that we do all over the world. We have our membership in particular is very exciting because for just $140 a year, we can essentially involve somebody in an entire new lifestyle.
I know. I was going to mention that. I was, looking at your website, and it made me so happy and impressed to see such good stuff out there. It really did. It really just lightened my heart, and it was great. And I couldn't believe, so I went on to one of the, I guess, membership. It was a meditation one that I wanted. And I was like, $140 for a year? That's $11 and some change a month. That is amazingly reasonable, especially in today's world. What many studios and gyms and different types of practices would, what they would require. So, I was also very impressed by that because, when we're upon hard times, we don't always have easy access to money and being able to financially support ourselves, especially in our, times of feeling very low, or that things aren't in order in our lives.